This is a Pearce story. On June 1st, 1967, which was my 10th birthday, if you do the math real fast here, I got a cast on my left arm. My family went home from the doctor, and we packed a station wagon up, including my birthday cake and a big deal of Tupperware. We drove down off the Caprock in Post, Texas, through a hailstorm with hail this big through to Vega in order to get to Richardson, Texas. I've made my home here ever since, and there's no place that's been more home to me than this place, J.J. Pearce. I'm really deeply honored to be with you. 40 years ago, I sat basically where you're sitting. We didn't have this great facility, so it was like Richardson High, which was coming down. Basically, I sat in those seats, and I probably thought, like you're thinking, I hope this guy doesn't talk for very long. Amazingly, I do still remember some of the things the guy said, so it was really good. I want to praise you for reaching one of the great milestones in your life. And if you'll allow me, I'd like to make some observations about excellence, because I've been around these people enough to know that you're full of that. And I want to suggest some ways in which your excellence can be made important for all mankind. Soldier and statesman John W. Gardner said, an excellent plumber is infinitely more admirable than an incompetent philosopher. The society that scorns excellence in plumbing, because plumbing is a humble activity, and tolerates shoddiness in philosophy, because philosophy is an exalted activity, will have neither good plumbing nor good philosophy. Neither its pipes nor its theories will hold water. Along with Mr. Gardner, I believe that all devotion to excellence is to be praised. Where you find excellence, you'll find passion. We're made in such a way, we're hardwired in such a way, that the passionate striving after excellence strikes a chord in us. It reaches what we can call the better angels of our nature. Now, I know a man who is better at what he does than anyone else in the world. I've had a long acquaintance with Dr. Kenneth Salyer, who is arguably the greatest craniofacial surgeon in the world. Every day, Dr. Salyer works miracles in the lives of young people. And yet, I don't think it's that great a stretch to compare Dr. Salyer with a wonderful older man who was a plumbing guru at CNS Hardware for so long. He too had a passion for what he did, and he did it with excellence. I want to lift both of those men up as praiseworthy. Excellence can't be turned off and on like a switch, even though if you look around, we act like it can be. Many times I've been told by an official, a football official, I'm going to give you my junior high effort today. The implication is that if he were refereeing the Super Bowl, he would flip on that switch and turn on his excellence. And I won't go on into the possibilities there. Again, it would be like me saying, I'm not going to work out for weeks and weeks and weeks, but when I want to, I'm going to go in the weight room and lift 300 pounds. I promise you, when they put that bar down, it's going to go right through my chest. All my experience has taught me that a person who's satisfied to do a shoddy job today is hardly likely to do an excellent one tomorrow. Thoreau neatly summed up what I mean when he wrote, I would not be one of those who will foolishly drive a nail into mere lath and plaster, as he would not drive a nail into the sheetrock. Such a deed would keep me awake at night. Give me a hammer and let me feel for the furring. Let me find the stud in the wall. Do not depend on the putty. Drive a nail home and clench it so faithfully that you can wake up at night and think of your work with satisfaction. A work in which you would not be ashamed to invoke the muse. You would say to God, this is me. This is what I do. So will help you, God, and so only. Every nail driven should be as another rivet in the machine of the universe. You carry you in the world. You young people who have a taste for excellence need to see that your excellence flourishes in the world. And for that purpose, I have 3 suggestions on how you might use your gifts in the years to come. First, be an encourager. As Bosworth says, the world is too much with us. Getting and spending, we lay waste our powers. In the hustle and bustle of the world, there's an incredible need for encouragement. I love the image, and you've heard me talk about this before, the old-fashioned pump and having to prime it before it works. If you don't put a little water in the old-fashioned hand pump, you don't get any water out. Make it it your life's work to encourage those around you. And this is the big secret of life. Don't wait until they're completely worthy to begin praising them. When I used to coach basketball, getting my players to take a charge was difficult. It's not rational to step in front of somebody that's going full speed. We taught technique, but what created a culture where taking charges became the hallmark of our team was the extravagant praise that we laid out for the first person who got close to doing it right. My mentor, Chuck Beadle, used to introduce me to everyone as the best football coach in North Texas. And man, you have not lived until you've been introduced as the best football coach in North Texas to former Cowboys coach Tom Landry. Okay? Well, Tom Landry and Chuck and I all knew that Tom Landry was the best football coach on planet Earth. But Chuck's words made me feel better. And what's better, or what's even more important, I think, they made me strive to be better, to try and reach for the praise that he had already given me. Let me encourage you to be the polish that brings forth the shine in another person. Second, be a replenisher. A replenisher is the person who does the little, frequently thankless tasks that make the earth turn. For instance, and I know this dates me, you may not even know what this is, who at your house refills the water bottle in the refrigerator? Who changes the burned out comparison? Who changes the burned out light bulbs? Who replaces the empty roll of toilet paper? Okay? Being a person that anticipates need and fills it. Being a replenisher is an act of faith, like planting a seed. Again, our friend Thoreau says, convince me you have a seed there, and I'm prepared to expect miracles. The benefits of replenishing may be delayed. It's not instant. But they're very real. I will tell you that small gestures can speak volumes in the lives of the people around you. Finally, this is the crux of this, because when I look at you, I see the leaders of the next generation. And I'll have to say in preface that the people that I'm around that don't see people like you every day are worried about the future. But I see you and have seen you, and I know what the future will be like when we live with you. So be a leader that's a servant. So many people aspire to lead because they see leadership as a path of glory. True leadership is servanthood. Just as we're made in such a way that we have an innate desire for excellence, so we are made to take innate pleasure in the service to others. We're at our best when we do for others, and when we're at our most generous. Unfortunately, so many of the examples you see of leadership today are negative ones. I think of the big city school superintendent who, in the midst of a financial crisis, which basically he had caused, said, the responsibility falls on all of us. And I thought when I heard that, I'm sure the guy that's sweeping up classrooms at Edison Middle School doesn't feel like he needs to shoulder quite the same load that the superintendent did there. Then there's the world leader whose memoir contains this mea culpa: mistakes were made. Not I made mistakes, mind you. It reminds me that my students used to return periodically to my class with the shattered pieces of my past. And every time that happened, they would say to me, your past broke. They never said, I dropped your past broke. It's just as if the pieces disintegrated in their hands. And I thought every time, surely this is the teachable moment of all moments. Leaders take responsibility because they're meant to serve and not to be served. Jim Collins, the leadership and management guru, says, the level 5 leader operates using the window and the mirror. When things are going great, they look out the window and they praise the team. When things are not going well, they look in the mirror and they take responsibility on themselves. Servant leadership is one of those things that's hard to put into words, but that we recognize in our gut and in our heart. Napoleon, in the brief fair-handed leadership, said, a leader's a dealer in hope. I believe that this is one of those things that we intuit about the people that we're willing to follow. Imagine, if you will, a football coach that sends his team onto the field with the following pep talk. Men, people who are about to play are way better than you. Not only is it unlikely that we will win, but there's a high probability that some of you are going to be injured, perhaps seriously. I would say that by tomorrow, some of their guys are going to be dating your girlfriends. Now, everybody put your hands in. Let's go get it. What kind of performance would you expect out of that team? Absurd? But you see examples like this every day. A good leader wouldn't care if their team were about to play the Dallas Cowboys. They would send them out onto the field believing that they were world beaters. I can see us in the huddle saying, let's take it easy on Tony Romo today and his back's going to Understand, in that picture, nothing else has changed. The game hasn't changed. The leadership changed. Our hope changed. And I would suggest that our chances of success changed. Let me give you a couple of examples of this failure of hope in the real world. Picture this. You're in a meeting with all your peers. The scale that is used to rate your performance has changed. It's going to be harder to obtain high marks. If you were the leader, how would you present this as a team? Well, in the case I witnessed, the person presented it this way. We're raising the bar. No matter what you do, it will no longer be possible for you to be excellent. Let that sink in for a minute. This so-called leader made the Johnny Raincow football coach from earlier sound positively inspiring. Interestingly, I heard from a colleague who sat through the same meeting the same day I did, and their leader put it this way. Yes, the standard is tough, but you've always been great at what you do. You will continue to excel. Which one of those people are you going to follow? One more. Once upon a time, there was a leader who, let's say, was a little underprepared to lead the group's next enterprise. Having underestimated the workforce necessary to perform the task, the leader was faced with telling a room full of people that they would now need to work on Saturday when they had planned on to. Now, there are many ways that you could have gone about this. Probably none of them easy. It's best for the team, because it is. Or, if you develop this kind of currency with the people you lead, say, do this as a personal favor for me. This so-called leader did it this way. They decided it was easier to throw someone else under the bus than to take responsibility. So basically what they said was, you guys all have to work Saturday because these two guys want you to. Now, those two guys will let you have it. And probably didn't lead the situation any better. That's the kind of leader, and you will see them in the world, that couldn't get a thirsty person to drink water. Know this, how we are led, how you will lead, will mold the world that you live in. Do you know this story? I mean, if you sat in my classroom, maybe you do. In hell, everyone sits at a table that's groaning with food. Everything that you could ever eat, everything you would want to eat, is laid out on the table. But everyone's starving because each person has long spoons strapped to his arms so that they can't bend their elbows. They say that in heaven, they have the same table, the same bread, and the same spoons. But everyone feeds the person across from them. In closing, I want to say again how much of an honor it is to be asked to be here with you. You have a very, very real gift of excellence. And I expect to hear great things from you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Coach Johnson. Hello, I'm so pleased to be here